Welcome to the Real Comic Heroes Podcast. Your adventure into the world of comic book movies starts here.
Greetings, citizens, and welcome to another adventure of the Real Comic Heroes Podcast. My name is Travis.
And I'm Patrick, and we have a special guest today.
Hello, I'm Rory. Rory M. Spence.
Champion.
Yep, I've been here a lot.
Yeah.
He's got no place else to go.
He's been here the whole time.
Yeah, I'm in the episodes I don't speak in as well. I'm just sitting in the background.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Quality
terrifying.
control.
Yeah. And he is slipping.
Some of the shit you let us get away with is staggering.
All right.
Yes.
Hey, picked a fun one to come back to.
Mate, wait till we get to my opinions on this, because I believe I did.
Are we falling into another Spaceballs episode where one person loved it and one person hated it?
I hope so, man. I hope so.
We'll find out.
I'm up for being on that side of it.
Okay. That side of it. Okay. Jeez. All right. Well, I guess we should actually say what we're here to talk about.
Sure.
Got Predator 2. I'm getting too old for this shit, I think is the tagline.
Yep.
So, 1990, Predator 2, in case there's another Predator 2 I'm not aware of.
I thought this was. I thought this one was from 1997.
Oh, that's true. The future.
Yeah.
Where everything's exactly the same. It's just really hot.
Right. Guns are different. Guns have like weird
true.
pipes coming out them and stuff.
That's true. They got like ornaments on their guns that make them look different than they really are.
Yep.
But yeah, 1997 LA turned out not that far off.
Yeah.
Sadly. All right.
Yeah.
But no Taco Bell like in what was that?
Oh, yeah.
Schwarzenegger.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Demolition
Stallone.
Man.
Demolition Man. Yeah.
Demolition Man. Yeah.
Was that 97?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it was probably like something
Might have
far
been
off,
20
like 2002. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it went forward because he was supposed to be like 80 or something.
Yeah, right.
So it went forward at least 40 years or something.
Okay. Yeah, because like he had a little
the
girl
90s.
that was now grown up with kids, I think, of her own,
Yeah.
something like that. So yeah. Okay.
2032. I just looked up.
2032. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, can't wait for it.
I think it's on
Taco
our
Bell,
list.
here I come. All right.
Taco Bell's terrible, by the way. We just got one in Glasgow, and it is awful.
Oh yeah, that's I think the funniest part of that movie is that all restaurants are Taco Bell because it's absolute diarrhea medicine. So.
Yeah, it's so bad, man. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about.
So our sponsor today, Taco Bell. Fantastic.
I'm loving it.
Yeah. Finger looking good. That's one of those.
Yeah. Yeah. It's Predator 2. You got any taglines? Any real taglines for us, Patrick?
What? I just gave you a gem and a half right there.
You did. You did.
Taglines. I'm gonna have to say that I am not stalling at this moment.
Of course. Why would you?
Yeah, I mean that's just a cheap trick that people do where they ask another question while they figure out how to find what they're looking for. Because I mean, that'd be totally unprofessional for me not to have all these taglines right here.
You know what would be even more unprofessional is if someone who was editing this podcast would leave all this in.
Rory, I'm going to need you to check Travis's quality on the editing as well.
Yeah, okay.
So,
It's
all right.
all good to me.
As I
Sounds
was trying to say before Travis interrupted me, here are the taglines. All right. Holy hell, there's a lot of them. Okay. So, I mean, I knew that, but, All right, so we have, Jesus, pull over, park, and pray.
Wow.
That's like,
What?
I guess that references his driving skills that we see right away, and I believe there's a mention of that he's destroyed like 13 cop cars or something like that.
So vague. I mean,
some sort of LA reference or
Yeah.
something.
Maybe.
just driving in L.A., I guess.
because usually you pull over, park, and listen. If you're like on the radio or something, they tell you to pull over and park to call in.
Okay.
Right.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Okay.
But
So drive time radio probably would have been very popular at this time. So that one probably made a lot more sense in 1990.
Yeah.
But that's bad.
Speaking of bad, here we go. Whew. Lions, tigers, bears, oh my.
Oh. At least that one's in the movie.
It's just...
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense as a tagline, yeah.
If you haven't seen the movie, what does that mean to you? Nothing.
Yeah. Okay. And we're moving on. He's in town with a few days to kill.
I love this one.
That's pretty good.
That's a damn
that
good
makes
tagline.
me laugh. That makes me laugh.
Yeah. Because of I love the double meaning at the end. The few days to kill, like just a few days to hang out or a few days to go on a hunting spree.
Well, there's a alternate version of that.
Okay.
Starts differently. It just starts with silent, invisible, invincible, and then it goes into the he's in town for a few days. And then we got hunting seasons open again.
Oh, yeah.
That one's okay.
Was hunting season one of the original ones?
Was it? I'll have to go back.
I think it was something about like specifically about Schwarzenegger. I think in the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We have this is uninspired. The Ultimate Hunter.
Yeah.
And then you have this time he's coming to a different kind of jungle.
Yeah.
That's okay.
You were going to get some of those.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
That feels like that should just be a tagline in the trailer, which I think might have been.
The next one makes no sense, but
jeez, we got
this
more of
time, Los Angeles, 1997. Stardate. What? I don't even understand why that's a tagline. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yep, there we go. All 22 taglines.
Right.
Told you there was a lot.
Yeah. What's everyone's history with Predator 2?
I only saw it fairly recently. If you go back and listen to the Predator episode, I was a big fan of Predator, but I'd never seen any of the sequels other than, I think, Alien vs. Predator. So at one point I bought the Blu-ray box set, and me and one of my friends, who's also my friend Paul, he's a big fan of Predator, we sat and watched Predators, and then like a week later we watched Predator 2. I don't know why we did that order, but seemed like a good idea to do it that way. And I think we put it off because we just heard how bad it was.
Yeah.
But as you will find out, I was pleasantly surprised, and so was he. He actually enjoyed it as well. So, yeah, that's kind of it. It was just like maybe, 2-3 years ago, this. So.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Man, maybe that's my problem. I saw it when I was way too young. I probably
Usually
saw
it's kind of the opposite with films, isn't it? You have like a nostalgia for them if you see them when you're young. But
yeah, but I sometimes like on like movies like this where it's fairly hardcore, and you're like maybe 10 and you see it and you're like
that
was messed up and I'm gonna have nightmares now. Thanks. But I saw this probably when I was like 10 or 11, like a few years after it came out. And I remember watching it, and I still feel this way today, is why is Arnold Schwarzenegger not in this, and why did they replace him with the guy that's too old to do anything? And how did he succeed better than Schwarzenegger? Because Schwarzenegger left a crater in the earth, and this dude just chopped off a hand, and all of a sudden we're good, and he gets a fancy like loot prize of a handgun at the end. I don't know, but I didn't really like this movie that much, but I can see why there's a sort of very dedicated group of folks that like it, just for the spectacle, kind of. Because overall, I was just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's not like the first one's like a work of art, but it's hard to. I just can never get past Danny Glover.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is like the hardest thing for me to get past.
Yeah.
He's afraid of heights. He's 75 years old. Runs like he's got two fake knees now, and yeah, it's painful to watch him move. Is how I wrote this movie down. Yep, that's what I got.
Right on. I have like a. I had definitely seen parts of this as a kid. Probably, see, that came out in '90. So I mean, I would guess I saw it in '95, '96, maybe. So around 13 years old. Because I just have vague flashes of this movie that were already in my head. I don't think I sat down and watched it from start to finish. And this would have been on over the air, just antenna TV, like on a Sunday. So it wouldn't have been, it would have been heavily edited and all that. So I'll mention them, the scenes that I remember. I'll mention them when we get there. But yeah, just a few things in this movie stuck out to me. Most of it felt brand new to me watching it this time. So yeah, basically went into it with no real memory of watching it. So and it for me it held up, or held up might not be the right word, but I was also pleasantly surprised with how this movie turned out. So because yeah, I basically know it by its reputation, I think.
Yeah.
And hearing that it seems like people talk about it as if it's one of the worst movies ever made, and I don't feel like it is that bad. So we'll definitely get into.
I mean, it probably just disappointed a lot of people. Wanting
Sure.
Arnold Schwarzenegger again.
Yeah.
And that just gets you off to a rough start.
Yeah. Speaking of like memories of watching it for the first time, I did reach out to like our Facebook group and Instagram, and Brian Lockhart says, I like Danny Glover, but man, was he not Arnold. I like the play on the whole jungle versus urban jungle, but the movie is pretty much garbage. He says the ending is cool on the ship, but I just remember being disappointed in that movie. I can rewatch the original Predator over and over, but this one and the rest just don't hold up. Brian Lockhart has the Marine Corps movie minute, where he's going through like various Marine movies 1 minute at a time. I think right now they're doing Heartbreak Ridge, so go check that out. Eric Nash, my co-host over on Watchmen Minute, says, I've never rewatched it since the one time when I was about 15 or 16. That's how little I must have thought of it. And then over on Instagram, we got a comment when I posted the coming soon kind of image about this one. And from Movies as Comics, they said that one of my earliest memories of seeing a naked woman in a film was Predator 2. The fact that she was dead and hung upside down, skinless, made it extra weird and extra memorable.
No, she's not.
I know. I know. I think they're probably confusing the movie. So Movies as Comics, I think you need to go rewatch Predator 2.
Yeah.
Well, it all congealed into one confusing time for a young adolescent, probably. So.
Well, it says, I was born in 82, and I certainly wasn't attuned to the alien xenomorph Easter egg at the end. I had definitely seen Aliens by this point, not many times. I love them, as I still do the mythology this movie adds. Good concept, albeit not well executed at times. And it says Arnold with the greater than symbol Danny. So Arnold's greater than Danny. So those are just some.
Oh, poor Danny. He's getting that kicking already.
Yeah. So thanks to those folks who weighed in with their thoughts on Predator 2. So without further ado, should we get into it?
Yep.
Can't wait.
Right off the bat, I think because we just covered RoboCop 2, which I think is also set in 97.
Yeah, I think so.
And Terminator 2, I think, is also set in 97.
Oh, really? Jeez.
Or like I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm glad they didn't get too futuristic with it. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't notice the thing that you guys said about the guns having extra bits
It's,
on them.
the female police officer, her gun is crazy looking.
Okay. I
Even
didn't-
Glover's got like a weird
He's got a lot of like
ornamentation to it.
a scope, laser scope on his big.
Yeah.
I think it's like a Desert Eagle or something that he carries around part of the time. But it's like I don't quite know why it's set in the future. You know, there's nothing about it that couldn't work in present day 1990.
I hadn't thought about that as maybe just to separate it from the previous movie.
Yeah.
Like, just to give it a bit more time between the two events happening.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Could be.
That's really the only reason to do it.
As far as I know.
But also to maybe, again, like a RoboCop kind of thing, like to set up like what LA is like. They wanted it more sort of gang-ridden than it was at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I kind of wrote down, is that I've noticed a pattern of 90s action films, and I wonder how shitty it was in 1990 that everyone seemed to think in a matter of a few years this is how it's going to be.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was only a kid, so I'm guessing it was pretty bad in both New York and LA.
Yeah. LA as portrayed in movies in the 90s is just seems like a cesspool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Well, it did, like, a few years after this, it did kick into riots, didn't it?
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it wasn't that far off, so it must
Yeah.
Right.
everyone must have seen something coming, because it seems to be a common theme.
Yeah.
I was also watching this opening, gang war shootout thing and just expecting a lot more escalation, again, because we had just covered RoboCop 2. And so when there's a shootout and then they show the reporters who are live on the scene, I just kept waiting for a reporter to get their head blown off, live on TV, because that's what RoboCop 2 would do if it was that movie.
Yeah.
So it took me a minute to kind of reset and think about, like, okay, it's not RoboCop 2 necessarily. It's just we're just starting off again with, like, violence in the inner city, that sort of thing. So
it's a good setup, I think, as well. It's an interesting concept.
really is.
And the sort of combination of the crime wave and the heat wave is an interesting sort of... Like, it doesn't add into the crime wave, but it makes it look worse somehow. It makes it look like hell. You don't want to be there at all for any reason, because everyone's sweating and it looks like a horrible situation to be in.
Yeah, it's a big theme in Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing
okay,
as well.
Yeah.
Like, heat can play like a interesting character in its own right for some movies. Kind of, I think it's just most everyone can understand what heat does to you.
Yeah.
And how it can escalate things.
Yeah.
So.
It also adds a nice little bit to the Predator lore that he's only appeared in hot places thus far. It's kind of and being like a lizard and stuff like that, it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and it does add to that LA as an urban jungle type of environment that, for the most part, I think kind of works.
We also get some excellent outfits because of the heat, I think, as well, which I've got some notes on as we go forward.
Right on. So
we
get
sweat stains.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We get Super Cop Danny Glover shows up.
That's the exact note I've got. Super Cop Danny Glover. Super Cop Danny Glover in his 40s.
Yeah. What do we? Patrick, you kind of already talked about how you felt about Danny Glover, and
he's literally unable to move his kneecaps. Like, that's why his big moment is him driving in a car.
Yeah,
that's about as heroic as he's going to get throughout the movie.
He has a good stunt later.
Yeah.
Where he falls down a elevator shaft and just hopes for the best, even though he's terrified of heights. Yeah,
I was suggesting when he slides down a drain pipe.
That too. Yeah, because he's busy pissing himself because our hero's afraid of heights
and birds
and birds.
Yeah. The thing I like about Danny Glover in this movie is he fills in that everyman.
Yeah,
it's
kind of a John McClane type thing somehow, but also the sort of later John McClane stuff where he is this superhero. I think if he was more an everyman, it would be a lot better.
Mm. Yeah.
He's at least a real cop.
Yeah.
I get that from him, so I'll give him that.
He plays a cop well. We know that about him.
It would be, if you can't get Arnold Schwarzenegger back for the sequel, which would be a completely different movie, because unless we're then expected to believe that what was his name, John something, if he goes moves to LA and becomes a cop, that would be
you're talking about
Dutch, there you go.
Okay.
Obviously it would have to be a completely different premise for a sequel, unless he's like a government agent that gets brought in. But I'm glad they didn't go with like another huge guy like Arnold, big muscle bound cop, because then you would have just been comparing. I know that the two characters get compared to each other, like Danny Glover is no Arnold Schwarzenegger, but the everyman aspect of it really worked for me. And I throughout the entire movie I was comparing the character to John McClane. So
he's definitely more that kind of archetype than he is Dutch. Yeah.
McClane is a superhero compared to this guy.
Not in that first movie,
First movie. He took
three,
down
really.
terrorists with bare feet, I'll let you know. Jeez. And he wasn't whimpering at the elevator shaft or at the tall heights. And
he was complaining a lot.
Oh, yeah.
He complains a lot in that movie.
He complained, but he was more like bitching and moaning, not like, like Danny Glover.
You know what, the more I think about it, the more I think that's what they were going for with this, was the John McClane.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. They missed the mark.
I dig this opening. I like how the opening goes from the initial gang war, shootout on both sides. It wasn't super clear who was fighting whom, in this. Like, it was this Mexican gang versus
Colombians, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I
Colombians
was...
and then the Rastafarian.
Yeah, the Jamaican.
They come into it later.
Yeah, it's not them at the start, is it? I don't know.
No, they think it is, but it's really Predator.
Yeah,
they think the Jamaicans did that.
Right.
Right.
I like how it does transition from the initial shootout and into the clearing the building and going through the building and finding all the dead people and everyone that the Predator does come in and just wipe out.
There's a bit that I didn't take notes, but I think it's in this sequence. It may be one of the later gang sequences, but there's a guy that takes a handful of cocaine.
Oh yeah,
it was this. Yeah, it was this one. Yeah, that was
fantastic.
Good.
Just a handful.
Throws it in his face.
It's one last hurrah.
Yeah.
Going out with a bang.
There's a guy. I think he's like the leader of. It's either this gang is Scorpio gang or the guy's name is Scorpio.
Okay.
He's got the longer hair. He's the one that takes the dive off the whatever this 3 or 4 story building is, and they show him. He lands on a one of those tables that you set up that you see wrestlers slam each other into all the time, and the table is still intact. So he takes like a 30 to 40 foot fall and lands on a table, and the table is just completely standing.
It's an inch wood veneer table.
Yeah. And
that
it's there for what reason exactly? Presentation of a corpse.
I think he lands on like a lunch table or something, and
I think there was food on it.
There's some line of like lunch is served or something.
Man.
I feel like there's some one-liner here in the movie. I can't remember.
Awesomely awesome bad.
I can't remember. Robert Davi is in this movie for some reason. He's
Who's that?
He's the guy that approaches Danny Glover and gives him shit and says, the feds are taking over, you need to back down.
Oh, yeah.
Dude from Goonies. Yeah.
Yeah, from Goonies, and he's the
scarred
villain.
face, kind of.
Scarred, yeah. He's Sanchez in License to Kill.
Yeah,
And,
right.
he-
One of
and
the
he's in Die Hard as one of the federal agents.
Yeah, he is,
yes. So very, very recognizable guy. I have no idea why he's in this movie because he has this scene, and I think he has one other scene in
he
the.
fires him at one point, or is
He's on the
saying
phone
he's
with.
going to.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't know why he's in this movie. He doesn't get nearly enough screen time to make it, I would think, worth his time when you could have another character be this character.
Or sort of Die Hard. But,
Yeah.
you know, like, just they're trying so hard to make it reminiscent of Die Hard at this point.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he's playing the same character. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's no reason that the Die Hard universe and the Predator universe couldn't exist in the same.
Yeah, but he did blow up in the 80s on that helicopter.
That's so he
Oh,
did,
that's
yeah.
right. He does get killed. Yeah.
So
Okay. Well, his twin brother,
his twin brother.
who's also has a very pockmarked face, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, rough day of chicken pox at the house there.
Yeah.
That's what we'll say.
Yeah, that's kind of one of my notes. It's like just too many characters in this movie because you also have
There is a ton, isn't it?
Yeah, Danny Glover's, I guess, police captain. Like that could be the same guy. You know, it could be the same role, anyways. And then earlier, like in that police shootout, there's an older, maybe like a SWAT captain kind of guy who's in charge of the SWAT team. He's all in black. Like he seems like he'd be the one to be a little bit older than Danny Glover, and he could give him commands. And it just, I don't know. And then you have like later on in the movie, you'll have Gary Busey come in, who's also kind of a government type who's telling Danny Glover to back down. So it's just, for me, it was too many people kind of doing the same role of just telling Danny Glover to stop doing what he's doing.
Yeah. I like how we're all calling him Danny Glover. I know Travis, you usually try and go for the character names, but nobody knows what it is.
No, yeah. I really wasn't too sure what his name was until I did a quick, little research before we started, looking something up, and it was
I don't even think
Lieutenant Mike.
Yeah, Mike Hannigan, which again, that's just a name that it could be anyone. That Mike Harrigan, sorry, Mike Harrigan. And that's just one of those names that it doesn't matter who we cast in this role. We're just gonna name, the character is Mike Harrigan, and Danny Glover happens to be the one, in the role.
Yeah, I don't. That's a weird one. Yeah, I don't even remember that coming up ever. I don't even remember Indy calling him Mike at any point or anything.
They call him Harrigan.
Yeah,
get in my office.
And it was super confusing because when he's running around on the rooftop with like his partner, kind of.
Oh, Danny boy.
Danny, and he. I'm watching it with subtitles and stuff, and he's calling someone Danny, and in my notes I'm writing, Danny Glover. Like it got to be a little confusing.
I do like his crew though, his little team that he goes
they're
about
not
with.
bad. Yeah,
I quite like the.
I thought I'd get more with them, like especially Danny Boy. He doesn't last very long in this movie.
Yeah, maybe it would have been more interesting. Like as we say, we were not really buying Danny Glover as a super cop that could take down something that Arnie struggled with. It would have been more interesting maybe if they stayed as a team more, like throughout the movie and through to the end, and it was a few of them that did it, rather than just Danny himself.
And that's what I thought they were going for, was like an ensemble team like they had in the last one.
Oh,
it was like a group of badass soldiers, and now it's supposed to be a group of badass cops, but they don't really do anything other than get killed. I guess Paxton's character does surveillance pretty good.
That's
his
his specialty.
Is everything.
Yeah. And,
I was
pretty think of aliens because of him, so I thought they'd hang around a bit more. And
I was pretty delighted when I saw Bill Paxton.
Well, the minute he comes into the movie, you know he's going to die. It's just the second you see him, you're like, he's going to get killed horribly at some point during this.
Man.
Well, he has that thing, hasn't he? He's got the trilogy of being killed by an alien, a predator, and the Terminator.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like that EGOT.
Yeah,
For,
yeah.
For sci-fi action movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. My notes jump to the penthouse where we have who I think is like the Colombian drug lord.
Yeah.
And this is when the Jamaicans show up. So I don't know if anyone has anything before. I
do
did
have my favorite line of the movie.
Okay.
And that comes from Danny Glover, a.k.a. Mikey. And it totally just does not... I don't buy it when he says it, but it still makes me laugh. It's basically... let's see, I wrote it down here. Cutting off my dick and shoving it up my ass. I was like, wait, what the fuck just happened?
This is because he's been told by his superiors like to just back off and let the feds handle it, I think.
Yeah.
And
when he says it, I die. I literally just was like, I have to hear that again. Hold on. Because I still see him as Murtaugh.
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
The dad cop.
It's a similar kind of role in a way. You can imagine this guy maybe becoming Murtaugh in a few years.
Yeah.
When were those movies?
The first one was before this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought
I'm
so.
sure.
Yeah, it was late 80s.
Yeah. So maybe like 88, maybe 87, maybe.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Not too much older than he would be here, but in Lethal
just
Weapon,
totally
he
shit.
plays it as if he is like a 60-year-old cop, which
1987.
Okay.
Lethal Weapon.
Yeah. So yeah, it's as interesting. I know you watched the first Lethal Weapon, you think he doesn't look that old, and he doesn't look that old. I don't think he looks like, just if you look at his face, I don't think he looks. He's like 45 in this.
Yeah.
I don't think he looks. I think he looks good for his age, but
physically he plays it a little older. But even like in this, when he gets back to the precinct and he like changes his shirt, he takes off the one shirt that he's been wearing, and he's a lot more fit than I would have thought. You know, his arms are pretty big, his chest is pretty large, and you know,
he's a big dude. He just doesn't come off as that.
Yeah, something about it's weird because it's kind of the same problem that Predators has, the 2010 movie.
Okay,
have you seen that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the Adrian Brody?
Yeah. So that's the issue with it is that Adrian Brody is your lead action star in that.
Yeah.
And it just kind of, it's the same issue. He doesn't, because he's a fairly, like, he's thin, but he's a muscular guy, and he's probably very fit, but he just doesn't kind of come across as an action hero.
Yeah.
Same like Tom Hiddleston in that Kong Skull Island.
Right.
Like, he's hard to buy as an action hero.
I think Bruce Willis is the only like martial art action hero that has pulled it off successfully.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah.
Like,
because
you mean just not being huge. Like,
up to a point. Yeah,
that was Predator. It was like comically huge, like the first one. Like
here, let's have
double gun scene where they do that handshake to show off their muscles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Let's see. I like that they set up or establish the idea that this whoever mangled all these bodies and killed everyone and hung at least the one guy up, you know, in this warehouse at the beginning. I like that they set up that they think it's the Jamaicans, you know, because apparently they have a history of stringing up their victims and kind of mutilating. We don't see anybody skinned, do we? In that warehouse
in the first
thing?
bit, no, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, that's right. It's kind of a surprise when they come to the penthouse later, and so I like that they established that we think it's the Jamaicans, and then the next big action scene we see the Jamaicans, and they're going after what I think is the Colombian drug lord. I'm not real sure on who the guy is that they string up and are.
Though, I kind of have an issue with this bit in the penthouse, how they know it's the Jamaicans' bodies.
Yeah, they are skinned.
They're skinned.
Yeah.
Like, their stuff's around, but I don't know how you don't know, like, they're Colombians and the Jamaicans skinned them, you know what I mean? I don't know how they... Because someone just walks in and says it's the Jamaicans.
Maybe Maybe somebody looked at video footage from the lobby.
Their car could be in the parking garage.
Like I said, like other stuff's there. They've got their like candles out and their ritual stuff. That
Yeah,
they were
there you go. Yeah.
But how do you know they didn't just skin 10 Colombians and then leave out like bad?
So, that is a good point.
Yeah.
How do you look at 10 skinned people and know who they are?
Especially if they're the ones that usually hang people up.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Did the corpses still have dreadlocks?
I don't think so. Yeah, then
no.
they were just
It was all mannequins.
Okay.
Like, you couldn't tell what was going on.
Yeah.
But
I like when they've got the Colombian, the drug lord, when they've got him strung up and upside down, and then Predator shows up and just mayhem, guns start going off, people start getting killed. I really would have liked the drug lord to have remained alive through all of that, as if like he somehow just missed getting shot and just lived through the chaos, and then the Predator comes up to him and just like slits his throat, or just
although
something.
the Predator wouldn't do that, as established.
Sure.
But
And they do a good job of establishing that the Predator is not going to take trophies of people he didn't kill.
Yeah. So. And like I think they do a good job of establishing his sort of honor code.
Yeah.
Even at this point, like he doesn't kill the unarmed woman.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, and going forward, it does a really good job of establishing who he will and will not.
Yeah.
Kill.
I think at this point I wrote down, I'm on the Predator side so far.
I mean, it's hard to paint him as the villain when he's going up against, gangs and, because he's basically like the Punisher,
One of the cops says, "Why don't we get him on the payroll?"
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like it kind of foreshadows, to let you know, if you don't know already, that he's a hunter, where they show Danny Glover's character looking at a display window of trophies of animal kills or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously going to foretell the spaceship scene, but
no, you can tell that clicks in his mind. Oh, he's taking trophies. That's that's why he's skinning people, or
at this point, he hasn't taken anyone's skull yet, has he?
Not until Willie, the Jamaican.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Did anyone else think when they saw the people tied up and hung there? I thought of Ninja Turtles.
Oh,
because they do a similar thing where they hang somebody up and tie them.
Yeah, pile of.
I probably just watched it too close to this or something, but I was like, oh no.
That's an interesting double feature.
But I did kind of wonder, did the Predator see the Jamaicans work and now he likes doing this where he hangs everybody up and skins them?
Right.
Yeah.
Because before he didn't do that with the cartel, like the Colombians, he just, eviscerated them.
Yeah.
I think one guy was just hanging there by accident when he threw him up there. But...
Yeah. Didn't one of the Predator in the first movie, didn't he hang somebody up? Skinned alive, like the initially
he was in a tree, I think.
Yeah. So I think it's a coincidence apparently that the Predator and the Jamaicans tend to string people up, I guess.
So if he's got the time, he'll do it.
Yeah. When
he or she, I don't know what sex
that is quite funny to imagine, like after killing all those people. The Predator just going around picking them up one by one, hanging them up. They would have taken ages. Yeah.
Maybe he's got a handy multi-tool for that on his.
Maybe. Yeah.
Well, and especially if you think about the fact that the woman there is just like hiding behind a column the entire time. Yeah. That's funny. And what must she think? I mean, is he invisible the entire time?
Yeah, presumably she's hiding and covered, like she's not looking while he's doing all this. I don't know.
She just sees all these bodies start floating up and getting hung up there. And,
what did she say? She says the devil came for them or something?
Yeah. Which is, I think, a line from the first movie too, right? Didn't they find somebody that...
Because there's a lady that they find that's been through a similar ordeal.
Yeah, there you go.
But,
So we have it becomes a crime scene, and then you've got Danny Glover and his people are trying to find clues. They're being told to back off, and then when Danny, not Danny Glover, when
Danny Boy.
Danny, what is it?
They call him Danny Boy.
Oh, Danny Boy. Yeah.
So that'll be a good way to identify
He's
him.
Irish.
When he goes back to the crime scene, and he gets killed like off screen.
Yeah.
And then, like, the next scene is, it's well after they've found his body. They're aware that Danny Boy got killed. Like, I want to see that scene of, like, of Mike coming, to the crime scene where he was supposed to meet Danny and have his reaction there. Like, it felt weird to jump over a big moment in the movie.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. We don't even know Danny Boy yet. I mean, we've barely gotten to more than like 10 lines out of the guy.
Yeah.
That's part of my problem with the movie is like it's this team that he keeps talking about, but I don't really know the team.
Sure.
Yeah, it would have been better to establish them more a bit. Yeah, because you only really get to know Bill Paxton's character.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a little bit of what's her name? Leone?
Yeah.
I think is what her name is. So let's see.
Leona.
Okay. I kind of jumped to when Danny Glover goes to meet the Jamaicans.
Yeah. Is that before or after he gets fired? Is it before he gets fired? I think it's just after.
Yeah, I think it is just after.
I've got some notes on that. I have notes on his outfit.
Yeah,
when
please.
he gets fired. He's quite a nice look. I like it's a mauve linen suit with a dark blue shirt and a navy tie with roses on it, which is a bit much for the weather probably, but given that he's going in to get fired, I think probably appropriate. But his tie, his trousers are so high that I couldn't work out if his tie was too long or his trousers were too high.
Yeah,
I think it's a bit of both. Is what I came to the conclusion.
Characters who dress like this, the suited, 90s, man, always make me think of the character model for Bruce Wayne and the Batman, the animated series. Because his pants were the longest things in the world.
Yeah.
His shoulders were so wide with the blazer that he wore, that's just it's just that that style.
It's high-waisted, billowy pants. That was just the 90s suit, I think. And
Yeah. Especially linen, you get the more billowy kind of look. But I like it. I like the look.
Yeah, and I will say Danny Glover does play a good sweaty guy.
Sure.
Yeah.
So does Bill
Paxton. I wonder how they did that. Didn't they just threw water on them between takes? I think
they
Vaseline, water, I don't know, like something. Like he was shining the whole movie.
Yeah, I've heard that they use a little Vaseline on their skin, and then they use like a misting spray bottle so that the water pools up on the skin.
Yeah.
But seeing Bill Paxton with his in his suit jacket, and the suit jacket has big pit stains.
They don't beat around the bush with letting us know it's hot out there.
Yeah.
It's good. I think that all adds to it though, because it's attention to detail. I think that's pretty good that you don't often get from like these sort of like the action movies, especially like sequel action movies where they don't care as much. But they have focused on making sure everyone looks like they're too hot all the time.
Mm-hmm.
After a while, I just didn't even notice anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
No, yeah. And they don't make a big deal about the heat, further into the movie. It's just really just there to set it up in the beginning that it's miserable, everyone's on edge, and everyone's a little crankier than, building the tension, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, they kind of lose me when we meet, I think they call him King Willie. Is that his name?
King Willie,
the leader of the Jamaicans. This is one of those scenes that I remembered. I remember Danny Glover being approached by the the Jamaicans in the Cadillac, and they roll the window down, and the interior of the car is like glowing red, I think, and like that always scared me as a kid. Like seeing that for some reason, just this car pulling up and it's glowing red from the inside and smoke's billowing out. Like that was creepy to me. So that's just one of the little flashes of this movie that I kind of always remembered.
It's interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, they kind of lose me when we meet King Willie and he's doing the, chicken bone, reading the tea leaves sort of thing with the chicken bones.
It's interesting as well because it's implied during the penthouse scene that like they are kind of just doing that for effect. They're just playing up this sort of voodoo magic type thing, but then you find out the early door's actually really into it by the seams. Or maybe he's just playing it up there in front of the cop, but
could be playing it up, but it plays as if we're meant to believe that he does have some sort of mystic ability.
At least he believes it today.
Yeah, and I think kind of right after this is when he's like, "It's coming closer, it's here," something like that. When the Predator approaches him, so and I guess he's a fighter. He has a cane sword, like that. Kind of felt weird to me, like him going out fighting.
Well, he has to again because of the Predator's honor code. Like
that's
he
true.
Actually would have to do something. It has to be a threat for the Predator to kill him. So
I love the headshot. Literally, the headshot.
It's brilliant.
I wrote down that it's one of the best fake heads I've ever seen. Unless somehow they rigged him up where they did a green screen, the green suit on his torso and painted it out. But
it's so well shot when it cuts to it and you hear a scream and it looks like he's screaming and then you see it's just his head that moves away. It's so well done.
It was, yeah.
And a very thorough cleaning job by the Predator.
Yeah, that bleached white skull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's polishing it. Yeah, it's really good.
Which makes me wonder, why does he keep hunting then if he's got his human trophy?
I think because he's seen Super Cop at this point.
Yeah,
and he wants him because they always want the biggest threat or the biggest game.
And that's why I wrote down, how come he's not hunting Busey or Keys? I think is his name, because Keys doesn't, he's not going out there guns blazing, but he's setting traps.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would think, honestly, he's the bigger threat than
maybe
Lieutenant Mike there.
He may not know too much about Keys because we'll find out that Keys' plan involves them wearing suits that keep their temperature hidden.
Yeah, and has he been out there at all doing anything really yet? He hasn't done anything.
They've mentioned that they been setting up trackers. I feel like they have the city, maybe the several surrounding blocks, like they've got tracking devices in like a grid, so they kind of know where he's operating. But they haven't set any like real traps yet, I guess.
Because they've been tracking him for weeks,
is
what he says. So it's like, how does the Predator not know that he's being tracked by all these guys, and at least one of them's got to have a gun on him?
Yeah. Maybe he does, he just doesn't see it as a threat yet.
That could be.
Maybe he's well aware of it, he just doesn't care.
Yeah. Weird. He does seem like he's a young Predator. Like, he seems like the rookie of the group.
He does.
Yeah. My question about, like, I think Patrick, you just mentioned that now he wants to hunt, the super cop because he feels he's now his target.
Yeah, because Busey says that Glover is the target of the Predator.
Yeah. So then we have Danny Glover is now at the cemetery. And the Predator's clearly there, has him in his sights. He could just kill him. There's no reason that I can think of that, unless it is just about like, I want him to be aware that I'm about to attack, or I want to have an actual fight and not just kill my prey. But that
I think you could put it down to another honor and respect thing. Like maybe he knows he's mourning his dead and leaves him to that.
Maybe
So maybe that's against the code of the Predators.
Yeah, there's some kind of, and I'm not a huge Predator Aliens person, but I don't know like the Predator clan or whatever, like if there's some kind of sacred rules or something, but it definitely feels that way.
Yeah.
And the fact that I don't see them as like snipers necessarily.
Okay.
They are stealthy, but
yeah.
they like their prey to be aware that they're prey. I think.
Yeah.
In that moment, I don't think they're just looking to get a headshot from like 2 blocks away.
Yeah.
You know what would be kind of cool, and maybe like if this was established in the Predator comics, it'd be interesting to find out like that they are addicted to the pheromones released with fear. Like if that was something that they were just really really into. I don't know if that's ever been established, but that would be kind
I
of
don't know myself. I'd just say Danny Glover's graveyard outfit: red suit, beige linen shirt, and a hat. This is something else. This outfit. This is.
It's hilarious. You wrote down all that detail. I just put down more sweaty clothes.
This is the first time he's wearing something that doesn't look well. The linen shirt, but the red suit looks like it would not be good in that weather. I don't know why he put on a red suit to go to a graveyard. It's there's nothing about that makes sense to me.
Paying his respects. Everyone wears red, like blood red to a graveyard.
And he's visiting Danny's grave, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, it's like there's been enough time passed where Danny's been killed and buried, and the gravestone's already there, which usually takes some time. So, but I don't feel like they're.
Yeah, it's like at least a week for it.
Yeah, I guess it just. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
He had one pre-made. They just had to chisel in the date.
Right.
All cops do that, right?
Yeah.
You would if you were in that department.
Yeah.
That is possible, I guess.
They're
Maybe
dropping
he's
like
already
flies.
had. Yeah.
You get your gun, your badge, and your tombstone. Throw that on your captain's desk when he fires you.
The next scene is the subway.
Yeah. Which
So
is ditched the red suit here, and he's wearing grey linen trousers, but the same beige shirt. He kept that shirt. He changed the suit, but kept the shirt on, which is unusual. I don't know why, because it's definitely the same shirt. It's got like distinctive buttons and stuff. I checked. So, unless he's got 2 of them, then then he's kept the shirt
He really
on.
likes that shirt.
Yeah.
Like,
I haven't sweated
like
through this
Simpson.
one
He
fully.
wears the same stuff over and over.
Yeah.
But
So here's my question about they start to set up this subway scene, and we know there's some gang activity on the subway, so we know that there's going to be trouble, and that made me wonder, like, is the Predator drawn to violence somehow because he's shown up to the gang war at the beginning, he's shown up at the Colombian Jamaican penthouse situation, and now he's here at the subway. Is he somehow drawn to these areas where violence is about to occur, or are they trying to establish that there's so much crime and gang activity in 1997 LA that Predator just can't be, he can't swing a dead cat without hitting, a gang war that's about to break out.
Or maybe he's following the team because
okay. Yeah.
Bill Paxton and
Okay.
Leona are there.
Yeah. That makes
maybe,
a lot more sense. I guess.
maybe before he goes after Danny Glover, he wants to take out his team first.
Ooh. Okay.
Or that they'll lead him to Danny Glover. Yeah, I mean,
I think I tend to forget that the Predator is a highly intelligent creature and not a monster, that's acting on instinct and like truly just like a lion, where it's stalking its prey. Like I forget that he's he's setting up traps, or he's stalking his prey, or like literally taking out his team before he gets to Danny Glover. Like that hadn't occurred to me, but that does make sense.
Yeah, I always think of him as a trophy hunter.
Yeah.
Like, so he's, like, what is that dude's name? Vandal Savage that's the hunter guy, or is that somebody else?
Craven the Hunter?
DC...
Craven the Hunter,
Okay.
that's what I was thinking of.
Oh, yeah.
I always confuse those two for some reason. But yeah, I always think of it like that. Like, he's just like a really great cosmic hunter or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I like the way the subway kind of scene starts going down with initially it's funny because, you know, someone pulls a gun on someone and you find out like the victim has a gun and then everyone in the train car has a gun.
It's funny though because the guy doesn't pull a gun; he pulls a knife first, and then and then the guy pulls a gun out his briefcase, and then I think only like one or two of the gang guys have guns, but everyone else does.
Yeah,
that's what's funny. But it's like they have knives, but the like civilians all are armed to the teeth.
I wrote down that these punk guys they reminded me of Police Academy bad guys.
Okay.
Where like I was waiting for that Bobcat to show up, Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yeah.
Like they had that like 80s punk
kind
of look to them, like where they don't look that dangerous. They look more silly than anything.
Right.
Yeah, this scene does it starts like a scene from a comedy movie, this whole thing. Like, it starts that sort of punch. Yeah, they are sort of comical looking, and then, everyone has a gun. Which is a good setup, though, as well, for why,
that's why
the Predator would kill them all.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good anti-gun movie.
Yeah.
Don't pack heat, otherwise you'll get killed and strung up and skinned.
It's a good... suspenseful scene with lights, of course, flickering out on and off, and people getting shot left and right, and then Bill Paxton's character, him kind of being the last man standing, is really pretty good.
So is his gun not just high enough caliber to do anything? Because all those bullets just seem to harmlessly ricochet, whereas Glover's gun can just destroy and shred.
Yeah.
And I know he's got a badass gun usually, but it just seemed weird that it was so ineffective.
I feel like with the flashing of the lights and him being invisible, I think they're trying to say like he's moving around a lot, and where Paxton is shooting is not where he's, but then...
But he's 8 foot tall in a subway car.
Yeah,
I forget that he's that tall. Yeah. That's funny.
Like, I think I could. I've never fired a handgun, but I think I could hit someone who was 8 foot tall in a subway car.
Yeah.
No matter how nimble and evasive they were.
Yeah.
Wow. Rory's bragging pretty hard right there.
Of course, when
I
they
need to find somebody 8 feet tall and get Rory a paintball gun.
Right.
See what he can do. Subway, let's do it.
Yeah. It's like inconsistent because when they show the Predator, they show his heat vision as he's walking towards Paxton, and it clearly shows that Paxton is shooting directly, straight at him. And so I don't know why his bullets are not doing any damage. Maybe it is the caliber of the gun. It's just not strong enough to penetrate his armor. But then when they show him later, and even in the first movie, it never looks like they're wearing body armor. It always looks like he's wearing the fishnet over his lizard skin. So
there's like parts of body armor, like the wrists and stuff like that, and the shins.
Glover pokes him later, it is grossly squishy.
Yeah.
So, I was like, ugh, gross.
Yeah. So I don't know.
He's not like hard skinned, really. Maybe he's elasticy and it literally bounces off of him. I don't know.
Or maybe Paxton is a damn good shot and he keeps hitting him in the head and it bounces off of his helmet, maybe, but we don't hear like a lot of ricochet. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be a bad move.
Yeah.
Especially if the thing is wearing a metal helmet and nothing else.
He's still invisible, so it's
that's true.
He doesn't know really what he's shooting at. He just knows something's there.
Yeah.
So, of course, he catches up to Leone and doesn't kill her. Obviously, because he can detect her her unborn child is there. And then, did anyone else get the sense when they carry her off in the stretcher later, and Danny Glover overhears the medic saying, she's pregnant. The look on his face for me said, "Oh, that's my kid."
Really?
Yeah.
I think he was just he just didn't know that. I think that was all. I didn't read that into it. But
okay.
Yeah, I
think
thought
it was
Paxton's character, his kid
just,
maybe.
I don't think
he's just
been around
there. He
long
just
enough.
met her. Well, yeah.
It's what he does best.
Yeah, it's his specialty. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a specialty.
I don't think. Yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
have
I
assumed
didn't
that.
take that. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe,
He's too old to
but
do that
I think he
anyway.
was just like surprised and obviously concerned.
Sure. So we're outside the subway station up on the ground. There is that cool moment where he's dragged Paxton's body away, and you just get the last few seconds where he rips his skull out and takes the whole spine. Not a close up of that, but they show it right before he ducks into a doorway or something.
It's the classic Predator move. I think every movie has that. Rip out the skull with the spine attached. Maybe not everyone.
The poster for the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like he's standing on the skyscraper or something.
Yeah.
With the skull in his hand.
I think that's like the same. There's a shot in the first one where he's standing on a tree like that.
Yeah.
I think it might be like the same framing and everything for the poster.
I think that's when he's taking out I don't remember the guy's name, but he's like the Indian character of the
Johnny.
of the,
I think
Johnny. Yeah. That's when he's taking out his character. But.
Yeah.
There was another movie that came out a year before that made me think of this one, and that was Friday the 13th. Jason Takes Manhattan. Because in that movie, Jason punches a guy's head off while he's standing on top of a building, and for some reason that stuck into my head when I saw the Predator with his trophy standing on top of the building.
Yeah.
I think that was New York, so a little different, but kind of the same.
Yeah. It's hard to be impressed seeing Danny Glover driving around chasing the Predator in a car. It just doesn't work the way that the first movie did with Arnold and him running around in the jungle. So
that's his action move.
Yeah,
that's how he started the movie.
The interesting thing though is Arnie at any point doesn't actually actively chase the Predator.
True. Yeah. I really dig the when we have Danny Glover's character meet up with Gary Busey and I guess Keyes is Busey's name. He kind of just talks about the first movie a little bit. I love the acknowledgement of here's what happened. I guess 10 years ago. I guess. And the thing. I don't remember now if he says that he wiped out made a crater out of someplace in the South American jungle, but.
Yeah, it's just something like 30 blocks or 300 blocks or something.
300 blocks,
300, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, holy hell.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Which makes it even more unbelievable. He got away.
Yeah. Yeah.
The countdown had started. It was but anyway, that's another.
He had 5 seconds to run 300, or at least half the distance. If he's trying to get from the center.
Yeah,
which still has me confused as to how Danny Glover was able to deactivate it by chopping off his arm.
Yeah.
So, but
it does it. Yeah, no, it doesn't. He chops directly into the thing. The control panel.
Still, you'd think that would just, make it blow up. I mean, he didn't even bother to check for red or blue wire.
Yeah, there's never any, it's always so inconsistent with disarming a bomb of you can either cut wires or cut the whole thing in half, and it sometimes works. One time it'll work, one time it won't work.
It's a bit like the door panels in Star Wars as well.
Yep.
Shoot the panel and the door closes or opens depending on what you want it to do at the time.
Well, he treated it like a malfunctioning TV and just gave it a good whack.
Yep.
Yeah, it all worked out.
Yeah.
So I think I've missed a note that I had for earlier. I'm not sure when this was, but the journalist that he punches.
Oh yeah.
that bit very Die Hard is what I've written here.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, did they just have a problem with journalists at the time? Was that a big issue that people just hated journalists in these
Could
days?
be. Yeah,
So it was
I
kind of
felt
this.
like, yeah, there was a guy called Geraldo that was kind of like the antithesis of this. He
Right.
was just like one of those investigative reporters that
Yeah,
were
right.
always like
kind of in your
trying to
face.
make a name for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
But-
that's what it's about, maybe.
The actual punch, we get a POV shot through the camera,
Yeah.
Yes.
and it looks like Danny Glover punches the camera lens and somehow
Yeah.
knocks this guy out, which is impressive.
He's a big dude. And, the reporter can't take a punch, apparently. I've seen that guy in other stuff. Like, he always plays, like,
Yeah.
a smarmy, like, reporter-style guy.
His name is Morton Downey Jr., and I don't...
Oh, he is that guy. That's why. He had, like, a show.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Like
okay.
So he's
and
kind of
Bush.
playing himself here.
He's playing himself.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
I knew
pretty
the
funny.
name, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't know any... I didn't know who he was, or...
Yeah, it was
Okay.
kind of like a Jerry Springer. not
Okay.
Jerry Seinfeld. Jerry Springer, like where it's like trash TV,
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
kind of. As soon as you said the name, it clicked.
Yeah.
God, that was driving me nuts. Okay, it's like I've seen that guy.
So I like how Keyes lays out this plan of they're setting themselves up in this slaughterhouse, so the temperature's already a lot lower, and they've got the plans to cover themselves, and I just love the notion of the prey making themselves invisible to the predator, because that's obviously that's his tactic. I do love the idea that they make themselves invisible to him.
So what Arnie does with the mud
Yeah,
in the first one.
Yeah.
I assume
like
that's
the
where they got
plan.
the information from.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And
that's true.
apparently technology's improved though, because he's got different scopes of.
Yeah, I
Right.
love that
Yeah,
when
yeah.
he switches vision. It's so funny. They've got this brilliant plan worked out, and Gary Busey's so smug about it, and then he just switches modes.
Yeah,
Done.
I do
He's
like that it's
settings, view.
Yeah.
Nope, not that one. Not that one. Bingo. Yeah. I like that it was the lights that he could see.
Yeah.
Like their flashlights, their EV
Yeah.
lights or whatever.
I like that it's not instant where he realizes something's wrong,
Yeah,
but he doesn't instantly go to his view settings.
yeah,
I really like this slaughterhouse scene. It's really good. It's a lot of it's very suspenseful, like
Yep.
Aliens, when they find the nest of aliens and they're hiding in the walls and they're taking people out. So yeah, I really like this whole sequence.
Yeah. I think I put down this is the first scene that feels like I'm watching The Predator.
Okay.
Until that, it was just a shit show of like
Yeah.
carnage and just. It felt sloppy. This felt
Okay.
more like The Predator in the first one.
good.
We-
They also, they didn't take into account the plan that it also seems to have very good hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't.
I mean, they do cut the radio chatter, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he could. I think he could still do all right. That's probably what tipped him off, wasn't it? He heard something. And then,
I would think so. Yeah, yeah. You can kind of hear them walking up and down stairs, or they
yeah,
hit something.
they're wearing big plastic suits. Like,
Yeah.
they're going to be
Maybe
making noise.
crinkling. Yeah.
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 So we get the big shootout,
Yep.
and
Mhm.
what's his name? Harrigan, whatever.
Harrigan.
the hell
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
name is. Yeah. I like that the guy that stops him folds like a cheap deck of cards and lets him out of the thing so
Yeah.
fast. He's like, "You're not going anywhere." "Okay, right this way, sir."
Yeah. And the guy in the trailer kind of giving him shit is Adam Baldwin, who
Yeah, Adam
Yeah.
Baldwin.
I clocked him kind of earlier in the movie. It's like, I
Yeah.
think that's Adam Baldwin.
Yeah,
I was like, "That's the dude from Chuck."
Yeah.
That's all I know him from.
Oh, okay.
he's an angel.
Oh, okay.
The,
I
the
know-
last
I know
season
him
of
from
the last season. Yeah,
Firefly
Okay.
and Chuck and a couple
Oh
other.
yeah, Firefly. Yeah,
Firefly,
I
yeah.
had
Few
Chuck
movies.
just stuck in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays a good government agent,
Yeah.
stooge.
yeah, because he's huge as well. He's like 6'5" or something.
Yeah, I noticed that when he was with Glover. I was like, "Oh wow."
Yeah.
Because I know he's pretty big too. So
I do like the callback to the line from the first movie of Arnold calling the Predator one ugly motherfucker. We get, I mean, just a literal quoting when Danny Glover sees
description of the guy later.
yeah.
Pussy face. I was like, what kind of people is this guy sleeping with that looks like that? Whoa.
The odd thing about this when he says it is it kind of implies that it's the same one. The way that the Predator finishes the line.
Oh yeah,
that he recognizes, he knows that phrase.
Yeah.
I guess this is where we get the big shootout.
Oh yeah.
And you think Busey's gone, but he's not.
Not quite yet.
Laser rocket to the torso.
Yeah,
Doesn't do him in. Get that fancy plastic suit.
What is his line when he comes back? He says something ridiculous.
Oh.
It's like, I'm back, bitches, or something like that. Something like that.
I didn't write it down. I don't know.
I don't think I did because I knew he was going to die immediately after saying it.
I think it's like, guess who's back, bitch, or something like that.
Oh, jeez.
He's such a weird, because Gary Busey is such a character.
Yeah, he's wasted in this.
It seems he's so, I guess, reserved in this movie a lot more than, the Gary Busey that we kind of know now.
Yeah, I think my peak Gary Busey is a movie called Under Siege with
Dave Seagal.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Is he in the first one?
Yeah, the first one on the ship. He plays like a XO officer.
Okay.
That betrays the ship. And that is by far my favorite Busey role.
Huh.
It's like peak Busey right there. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Highly recommend.
I watched the sequel a lot as a kid, but I don't know that I watched the first one.
Also peak Seagal before he really got into the Twinkies and ho-hos and conspiracy theories. A lot of crazy in that movie now that I think about it. Busey and Seagal. Man, must have had a hell of a conversation. But this is where we get to the lack of body armor and the effectiveness of Lieutenant Mike's gun there.
Yeah.
And did anyone else, and this might be just because I'm watching The Mandalorian right now, but I was like, I wonder if this is what The Mandalorian looks like under that mask. Wouldn't that be awesome?
That'd be cool, yeah.
Like, everyone just assumes it's a human head because of, the prequel movies, but...
He's a predator.
Maybe. It's essentially what they are. They're basically the predators of Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean... And that race would work really well in Star Wars. They wouldn't stand out. So that'd be cool.
Disney buy Predator and just make it part of the Star Wars universe.
They own Fox now.
They own Fox.
So technically, Disney owns Predator.
Here we go. Let's do this thing. Predator, Alien, Star Wars.
Yeah. Terminator.
Terminator. Oh,
I don't know if Terminator's still in that umbrella anymore. Pretty sure the new
does James Cameron not have the rights now? The rights were going to revert back to him if something didn't happen. Okay. I think he actually owns the rights somehow.
Oh, nice. That was a smart deal.
Yeah. The kind of conflict on the roof, once the battle kind of takes to the rooftops is really good. Nice bit of like Mike like stalking the Predator and vice versa, and I like them kind of fighting on the roof ledge and stuff. And is that when he cuts off his arm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He takes the little disc, the little sharp disc thing.
That disc thing's weird. Like it looks uncomfortable to wield, like because the holes are just in the middle.
Yeah. It's got lights.
Yeah. It's not like a knife where you'd hold a handle, so it's just seems like it's
like
awkward.
a real human weapon like that. It's like an Indian thing called the chakram, which from India.
Okay.
It kind of looks like a yin-yang symbol in the middle where you can grip it.
Yeah, some of them you just hold from like the inside of the rim. It's just like a circle.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just a throwing weapon, like you see in the movie. It's pretty much the same thing. Just a sharp disc.
Like a Chinese star. Their throwing star or whatever. But yeah, I don't know why it has lights on it. It's weird, but
just because it's
Whatever.
it's alien and it's futuristic.
Yeah.
And,
Maybe it has other functions.
yeah, maybe maybe when he throws it, and we see when it cuts through like several sides of beef before it cuts Busey in half. Like maybe the lights are to show us that it has technology inside that keeps it moving. Like it keeps it,
or maybe it's to find it. You throw enough of them, and then you need to go find them.
Yeah.
It's like the tracking beacon.
Yeah. It's a good idea.
Yeah, I'll go with that. I like it.
Yeah. The scene where the Predator sets up his own like med station inside the bathroom is another.
So
what's that?
I love it. So good.
That's another one of the scenes that I remember as a kid. Like that always stuck out to me. Like him punching the drywall and crumbling it into the sink and that stuff, and making the whatever you call it, the crap
like
that
paste.
goo that he puts on his wounds, like that. Just always is one.
I don't really understand what's happening, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's like cauterizing it so it doesn't keep bleeding.
Yeah, but what's the glass and the
I don't know,
plaster for?
Maybe it's what its blood's made out of or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like a healing ointment to their
it must be like use some type of matter. You just need matter. You just need I don't know. Yeah.
I just wrote down this dude's like Bear Grylls. He's just
about to drink his own piss.
Surviving in the wild with his camping stove and going to town.
I do like the little burner plate thing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. Especially, I could have done without the old lady though.
Sure.
Like,
I quite enjoyed that.
That was so 90s. Like,
wait, I love the bit where Danny Glover says, "I'm a cop," and she says, "I don't think he gives a shit." That's a great line.
Yeah, I just seen that. I think I've just seen that too many times, where it's just some random like civilian that gets a quip in.
Mm-hmm.
But and then we get the leap of faith elevator shaft with Danny that's afraid of heights but not elevator shafts. Like, and then he catches himself like after falling God knows how many stories.
Yeah.
And then he just, screw it, let's do this again. I'm sure there's a spaceship waiting for me down there.
Yeah.
Again, it's Die Hard, doesn't it? Elevator shafts, falling, catching yourself when you should be dislocating your shoulders. It's all very Die Hard.
Yeah. So how does this play out? Like he falls down the shaft and there's a hole at the bottom that then leads underground.
Yeah.
Is that a pre-established entry point for the Predator, or is this a fresh hole that he's
maybe
that he knows his ship is below
why
him?
There'd be a hole there, and you would have heard something.
He just made the hole there. I guess. Yeah.
Either way,
it's literally where he parked the car.
Yeah. So either way, it establishes that his ship is now underground, and this is, I guess, just been here.
How did they get it there?
I don't know.
It leaves too, so it's.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I might have an idea once we get to the end.
Okay.
But
I guess that tunnel goes somewhere, doesn't it? So,
yeah.
Because it gets out pretty easily, so theoretically it should have gotten in the same way.
Yeah.
But a hell of a maneuvering job by whoever was piloting.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I thought
we get the spaceship finally.
Yeah. Which I thought the inside of it looked like a carved pumpkin. Like when you carve a pumpkin and kind of leave, you don't necessarily cut holes in the pumpkin, but you kind of do the carving where you leave a little bit of a layer between. It kind of has that orange glowy from the inside.
It does have a kind of like natural look to it, which is unusual.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like everything else, all their technology is very sort of like futuristic looking, but this looks kind of old school and sort of like a cavern almost. It looks like a kind of cave, a natural cave.
It's probably Papa Predator's ship.
Yeah, it's an old one.
Well, has that
They do carry this design forward in other Predator things.
Yeah, it kind of has that biomechanical feel that the alien stuff has.
Yeah. It looks more like alien kind of deal than from this. Although, speaking of,
Yeah, yeah. The little trophy wall with the alien, the
this is
xenomorph.
a wall of movies I want to see.
I know, yeah.
The giant
I like the
alligator
first
skull.
one.
What is
Yeah.
that?
I
I
thought
want
it was
to know
like a
about that.
T-Rex.
Yeah.
To me, it looked a little
Yeah,
more
it could be.
large.
It's kind of
with
flat though. I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
I want to see him fight that.
Yeah,
I want to
It
know.
was Killer Croc. That's
Yeah.
what I wrote down.
Yeah.
yeah. It's a great shot. That is that something that they planned out and thought of, or is it just some prop maker was carving some foam skulls and said, "I'm going to make one that looks like a xenomorph," just
Oh, yeah.
because
I saw something about that because I looked it up.
Okay.
But I guess the Predator versus Aliens comic came out
Okay.
just around this time.
Yeah. It would
Okay.
have done, yeah.
Okay. That makes sense too. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Probably while they were writing it, it came out.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I know they had like 6 different versions of this story, so
Yeah.
Yeah. It just instantly makes you want more, and it's
Yeah.
kind of surprising that it took so long to do Alien versus Predator, because I think it was 2003
it was like
or
17
4
years later or
yeah.
something.
Yeah. Yeah. It
And
would have
it
been.
disappointed a lot of people. I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and watch. I honestly
Right.
can't remember it. It's
I've seen it
been
once.
so long.
I've seen
Yeah.
each of
I
I've
got
seen
that
each
feeling.
of the following Predator movies once, except the
Yeah.
newest Predators or the Predator. I have
The
not
Predator,
seen
yeah.
the Predator.
Oh, yeah.
That is by far the worst of the series.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen it at all.
Yeah.
That's the one that had all the drama with,
To be
the
honest,
cast.
Yeah.
the second Alien versus Predator could be worse. To be honest, but
Yeah,
I
that
can't
one,
remember that one very well.
It's pretty bad. It's more like they invade a small town.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
The first Alien versus Predator takes place in like Antarctica, I think. Like
Which
a
again I
down-
don't like because we've established that predators like hot areas
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and that's kind of a bit weird.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
So we get one more showdown.
Yeah.
Doesn't last very long, but
yeah,
One last fight to the death.
yeah. And then everyone decloaks as they were apparently watching the fight unfold.
Yeah.
It made me think of Star Wars and Jabba watching Han get decarbonated or whatever. All of this.
just there in the background.
Just started watching
Nice.
as something major unfolds. So,
Like, well,
but
we could, interrupt, but no, we're going to see how this plays out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's an honorable thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
1-on-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, presumably, like you said, this guy seems like the rookie. I think that's maybe his test. This is his
Mhm.
Yeah.
sort of proving himself to.
But that does make me wonder: is that not his trophy wall?
Oh yeah, well, he did put the skull on it.
Yeah.
Because he can't take down Glover, but he can take down a xenomorph.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just saying. What the hell? Like, everything on that wall looks way more dangerous than Glover.
Maybe it's kind of like you need a variety of skulls to pass, it's like
Yeah.
you've killed a monster or an animal like a T-Rex, some kind of mindless lizard that, isn't really doesn't think like another hunter does. You've taken down an alien xenomorph, so that's definitely difficult, and now you have to hunt down human, which,
He's already done.
well, not this one.
Not that
No,
specific human, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Oh,
he did
yeah,
already clean
yeah.
up King Willie
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
But it doesn't explain how
No,
he could lose
yeah,
to
you're
a
right.
guy.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
how can you beat a xenomorph and then lose to a human?
Yeah.
I guess you get cocky. I don't know.
Well, that goes to show how crafty humans are. Like
yeah.
I don't know.
I
And
think
we have
they know
thumbs.
less about humans.
We are pretty awesome at killing things. Yeah. I
So like
that.
they've been fighting as later established aliens or xenomorphs for years. They don't know as much about humans. They had
Right.
one encounter, and then no, they have
Well,
had more. Yeah, we did find out. Yeah, that's
Well,
right.
you
Yeah.
get the old Predator with the pirate pistol.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which I want to see that
yeah.
movie.
I know another movie that would be excellent.
So that is what
Pirates of the
I.
Caribbean and this could do a crossover.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Somebody's got to kill Jack Sparrow.
Oh, he'd be the last that he'd live.
Yeah.
He'd take it down somehow.
Yeah, he'd bumble his way through killing one.
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing that I looked up before we started, because I had in my notes, I was looking through my notes, and I came across this name, the Raphael Andolini.
Yeah.
Adolini.
Something like that.
I was like, I need to look that up. I need to find out if that was a real person or kind of what the deal was there. And apparently it's just they put it in the movie here, and then the next reference to Raphael Adolini comes in, what was it, 1996, when they wrote Predator 1718. I think it was 96. Let me look here. Yeah, July of 96. So it's just this comic in Dark Horse, where actually it's from a decade of Dark Horse. So this was just a short story within that book.
Yeah.
And it's just a story about this pirate captain, Raphael Adolini, and he, the Predator shows up kind of on the island that they're, the pirate and his crew have based themselves, and then it starts out as the Predator just taking out all the pirates, and then the pirates decide to turn on the captain and try to basically set up a mutiny. And so the Predator then teams up with the pirate captain, and they fight off and kill all the other pirates. So that's when I guess the Raphael guy was mortally wounded and gave this flintlock pistol to the Predator. And so here in the movie, in Predator 2, this is the same Predator that was in that,
Okay, so they live for hundreds of years, because that was my next question.
I guess, or they have some sort of time travel-y type.
Yeah.
When they fly around the galaxy, maybe they can go to different times. I don't know, but so it's. I guess I when I started to look it up, and it started to direct me to the Xenopedia, which was what catalogs all this stuff. I was surprised to find out that they made the first reference in the movie, and then they didn't follow it up until years later in the comics. So I guess I kind of thought if it came from the comics, it probably came before the movie, but not the case. They just made this little reference, and then someone else decided, I'm going to pull on that thread a little bit and come up with a backstory.
They must have been planning a sequel or something.
Something, yeah.
Never happened.
Yeah,
because otherwise, why would you put that in?
Was all this whole final bit with the trophies and everything. It's all just setting up ideas that it could be used.
Yeah. So, do we see another ship take off with the other Predators, or do they just die in the explosion? Because we see them disappear, but I don't recall seeing them actually.
That was another thing I thought, because they all walk towards a wall as they disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe they were teleporting.
Maybe.
Yeah. It reminded me of Field of Dreams. It was like the cornfield. I was like, what the hell's going on here?
Because they'll walk towards the back wall.
Yeah.
As they're fading out. So I thought maybe they were transporting.
Beam me up kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I thought I didn't think the ship blew up. I thought it took off.
Oh, okay.
Because there's like a huge line of dirt that gets, I thought, from their takeoff.
That's what I thought is how it got there. I thought it crash landed and slid into like a, I don't know, underground somehow. And
yeah, right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it took off, and that's the explosion was just the exhaust, like when a rocket takes off and blew Danny Glover.
That makes sense.
And then the trail he's walking out of is the trail of the ship taking off. Because I thought they were all on the same ship. I didn't think they were.
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason, I saw this as the ship blew up, and kind of ends the same way, where there's an explosion and the hero is just running far enough to.
So if that was the case, it would have left a 300 crater.
Yeah.
Or probably more, since it's a full ship instead of just one Predator. And then we get ashy covered Lieutenant Mike there walking out. And mean mugging Baldwin.
Yeah.
And then Baldwin runs away to fight in the sequel that never happened.
Right.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, is he running from the cops at the end?
Looks like it.
Yeah, because it's never explained who they are, really, is it?
No.
Like, they're kind of just...
They're just government.
Yeah, but were they
Feds,
even
I
government? We even find out if they were government, because
Not for
he
sure.
does seem to run away at the end. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Shouldn't
he
be
obviously, at the beginning of the movie, they appear and people regard them with some respect, and like they realize that they are of some agency that has jurisdiction. But
Yeah, they call them the feds early on, but whether they really are or not is another story.
Yeah.
And he wears like a tie pin. Gary Busey's character wears a tie pin that has like a kind of a. It reminded me of the Deathly Hallows from Harry Potter, kind of a triangle with a circle in the middle, like something like that. So it definitely feels like a secret society almost type, Illuminati type symbol. So I'm not sure.
And then credits.
Yeah,
That's pretty much how it ends.
Kind of end, doesn't it? It's just
pretty much. Kind of the same. The first movie,
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
the big explosion, and then some of the people show up to lift to get Arnold out of there, and that's the end of the movie.
but at least in that they show like a montage credit sequence.
Yeah, we didn't need
This
that here.
is just like, who was it that died on his team that nobody knew?
Yeah,
That lady with the baby survived.
Well, she got taken to hospital. Do we know she survived?
Yeah.
We don't know if she survived.
That's true. Well, hopefully the baby did at least.
Yeah.
Maybe the predator just killed her and left the baby to live.
oh jeez.
Well, she was armed.
Yeah.
The baby wasn't, so the baby lives. Unless you consider the baby, since it's connected to her, is also technically armed. I don't know. I got dark quick.
Yeah. So yeah, Predator 2. Should we jump into most villainous, most heroic, and then give a rating?
Yep.
Sure.
This planet, these people, they are nothing to me.
You were made to be ruled.
The universe is power. You unstoppable power. Come to me, son of Jor-El. Kneel before Zod. And I am that force. I am that power.
In the end, you will always kneel.
Kneel before your master.
I'll jump in first with most villainous, and I'll say the Jamaicans stringing up the drug lord and kind of taunting him kind of before they kill him, and like they give the impression that they're going to cut his heart out or something like that. So kind of doing that all the while holding the lady there captive, and so because I was trying to think about it, it's like the Predator, we have the same problem I think with the first Predator and like any of the Aliens movies. Like they're not villains really, and none of the human characters in this, none of the feds are really villainous. So I had to go with that one.
Well, I disagree now because I think Gary Busey is villainous in this. I think any time he opens his mouth is my most villainous moment, because he is just... So he's just that archetype of the sort of smug fed, thinking he's got everything worked out, and then obviously doesn't. But just everything he does, I think, is very sort of
clandestine,
antagonist, like kind of more than a villain, but it's just very antagonistic.
Sure.
I mean, like everything he does seems to be against like Danny Glover, particularly.
Oh man, no, this doesn't feel right, but I agree with Rory. I mean, his plan is to essentially strip the alien for parts and come up with something awful as a result. Yeah. So, I mean, he basically wants to make human predators.
Yeah, that's true.
As his plan, so that's pretty Bond villain-esque. And of course blows up in his face just as well. Literally. Well, blows up in his face, then cuts him in half.
I believe there's a hero in all of us
I just finally know what I have to do.
that keeps us honest,
I'm here to fight for truth and justice in the American way.
gives us strength.
You will give the people of Earth an ideal to strive towards.
makes us noble.
And I know in my heart that it's right.
So heroic. You guys already know mine. Danny Glover driving that car at the beginning, leaning out, shooting like he's Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Not looking through the windshield, just hanging out the side. That's his big hero moment.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mine was him like strapping, like loading himself up with weapons and going into the slaughterhouse, knowing that the Predator has probably just killed all of Key's men.
Yeah.
So he throws on like a bulletproof vest and he grabs some guns and just goes into the situation to try and fight the Predator and maybe save some people if there's still anyone alive in there. So that would be my hero moment.
Yeah, I've got Danny Glover like just actively chasing the Predator after just down the drain
After the
pipe and
subway.
everything like that. Yeah, after the subway. Yeah, because he just because no one else. Sorry, when was that? When did he chase him down the drain pipe? Down the drain pipe bit.
Because, that was after the slaughterhouse.
Yeah, it was
when
after.
they were going
that's what I thought.
from the roof to the.
Because Dutch didn't actively chase the Predator at any point.
Sure.
Nobody actively went after this thing, but he's decided he's going for it, which is a bold move.
Well, to be fair, he can actually see it now.
Yeah.
And can we say that the hero part starts after he gets scared by the birds?
No, that's part of it. He's facing his fear.
Yeah.
That's part of the heroism.
Patrick, a bird killed his parents. Okay.
Yeah. His parents were in the original Birds movie with Hitchcock. Yeah. No, I just wrote down in that part, like, all right, going after the Predator. Ha! Birds! I'm done.
Nope, that's it. That's where I draw the line.
Yep. No, I get that. I mean, it's similar to Travis's, where he's going into essentially a suicidal situation almost, where it's like, really, I'm going to do this?
Yeah.
And I'll give it to you. He's facing his fears of heights, birds, drain pipes, elevator shafts.
Old
you name it,
ladies,
this dude's
brooms.
afraid of it. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
So I guess overall thoughts and rating.
yeah.
I guess I'll start.
Yeah, please.
Going with the solid 2. It's not a great movie. Kind of like one of those movies that I could just have in the background and be fine because I'll hear certain things and then I'll watch. But I couldn't recommend sitting through this entire movie just because it's hard to get invested in it. I just don't care about the team that he has.
Yeah.
And obviously I've mentioned it 1,000 times, but Danny Glover's movements are painful to watch. It's got some moments like the slaughterhouse scene, and I can appreciate like the work that went into it. I don't really enjoy watching the movie all the way through, and would just say maybe it's good in a group, but solo viewing not the best.
I think it's definitely a lot better than it gets credit for. Everything I'd heard about this movie was that it was so bad, and then watching it was good. I think it's enjoyable. I think it's got some really good concepts. I think the story was pretty engaging. The characters are good. It's a cool setting. So I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. Probably, again, you're right about probably best watched in a group, maybe with a few beers, but I've enjoyed watching this myself.
Yeah, I did watch it with a few beers after like the first half hour.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to need something to get through this bad boy.
I did have a whiskey while watching it.
Okay.
But it was
all right, so
it was Robert Burns' Day yesterday in Scotland, so you have to have a whiskey. It's a law.
Oh, all right. Good to know. Well, sorry, I didn't know about that, so I didn't partake. Now I'm gonna have to do a Google search.
Yeah.
All right, so Travis.
So I think what worked for me so well about this one, and really for both of them, for 1 and 2, like it kind of takes an already established genre. Like the first one is a Commando, a Rambo, an action movie.
Yeah.
And then it just slides a monster into it. This one just takes a Die Hard movie and puts a monster in it. So I kind of like that, and I think the Predator movies should just be a mashup of take a genre, take a pirate movie, and throw an alien monster into it.
Yeah.
Like that really excites me, that idea. So yeah, going through this movie, I was surprised at how much of it I really liked. And it's kind of those main action beats, the gang war at the beginning, the penthouse thing with the Jamaicans, and the subway. Like those are the big action beats of the movie. And then of course the slaughterhouse at the end, which were by far, the standout parts of the movie. And I really had a hard time with the cop versus feds versus secret government agency. Those scenes really just drug on for me. And so there's things like that I did not really care for. But really going through it and finding this everyman cop who really is just John McClane, like that made me really just want a Die Hard movie where he has to fight, a predator. Like that's kind of how I saw this movie, and that's what I really liked about it. So yeah, I give it a 3 as well. Like this is one that probably won't seek out and watch all that often. I mean, I rented it here on iTunes, so I don't own this movie now, but if we were still in an age of channel surfing and this one was on a Sunday afternoon, I wouldn't turn it away. I'd watch it from probably wherever it happened to be in the movie, and do my laundry at the same time. It's a good background movie, I think. So
yeah,
that ended up higher than I anticipated.
Yeah, 2.667 overall.
Good. I'm glad.
So
yeah. It's actually what RoboCop 2 ended up with last episode, was exact same rating.
Yeah. That's interesting. Huh. Okay.
Again, just a movie that I think the reputation is incorrect.
Yeah, it's harsher.
It's harsher, than I think it deserves. So
yeah,
I think it's just like everyone's saying. You go from an Arnold Schwarzenegger action movie to this kind of play off of Die Hard without the main guy. Like you're basically making a movie without two of the biggest names in it. If this had Bruce Willis in it, maybe it would have done better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
To be fair, it's also a bit Lethal Weapon.
And Lethal Weapon. Yeah.
With the team, the
team that's not really a team.
Well, yeah.
They're all like Glover's always on his own. Like he's rarely ever with those other two. Like after Danny Boy dies.
Yeah.
But so Predator 2.
Not that bad.
Is that the tagline?
That's the new tagline. For the re-release.
So I guess what do we got next, Travis?
Well, we're going to close out the 1990s with 1990 with Captain America.
Ooh.
I have zero knowledge of this movie.
Same here, actually. I know some of the actors in it, but I know the main actor, but just by name. I've never seen it. I'm really interested to go into this one. If anyone wants to watch it beforehand, apparently it is available in full on YouTube, so that's where I'm going to watch it.
It's always a sign of a good movie.
Yeah, I've tried looking. I mean, I could get it on Amazon. I have found that it is available for sale on Amazon, but it's not like you can't buy it on iTunes. It's not streaming anywhere other than, again, YouTube. But Captain America.
It's going to be shot on like a handy cam, like looking at a TV.
Yeah.
It's going to be so bootleg, I think. But I look forward to it.
Yeah.
But hopefully it's better than the 70s version at least.
Well, that's why I decided to keep this one on here, because we did the 79, made-for-TV movie, And then that one was so bad that Patrick basically said, we're not going to do the sequel to that one. Because there was a sequel that came out like the same year, And because you refused to do Captain America 2 Death Too Soon, we're doing this Captain America from 1990. So
Still too soon.
Yep. So.
All right. Well, listeners, if you want to hear me cry, tune into that episode.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be painful.
Well, speaking of painful, Rory, tell people where they can... No. No. Tell people where they can find you and plug yourself.
Yeah, go. I do a podcast called Dog Care Presents, where we try and teach you, the listener, something new every week. I have a guest on, we both research the topic usually, and then, just go for it, educate. It's a bit of irreverent education. Predator's been on the list for a while. I need to do that, go through the history of the franchise. So I think that'll be an interesting one. But yeah, we've covered everything from like comic book characters to the history of toilets. So you'll find something that you're interested in if you scroll back through the topics. Dog Care, one word, presents. And yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Rory M Spence as well.
Well, thanks again, as always, for coming back on the show, and always have fun talking to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
And may the Schwartz be with you.
Thought we got through it. I thought we got through a full episode.
Not a chance.
Well, I guess that'll do it.
Where'd you get your guinea pig?
Happens to be the best damn candidate out of 600 volunteers.
A secret experiment gave one man the strength of 100.
For the rest of the world, he's just codenamed Captain America.
And the power to save millions.
The Jerrys have an experimental rocket ready to fire at a target somewhere in the United States.
Only he could defeat a superhuman madman.
They got a fella called the Red Skull heading up their outfit.
But saving the world left him trapped in an icy grave until fate released him to finish a battle started decades ago. Ronnie Cox, Kim Gillingham, Scott Paulin as the Red Skull, and Matt Salinger as the Marvel Comics hero, Captain America.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. Find the show on Facebook and Twitter at Real Comic Heroes. All music and audio are the property of their respective creators.